Hey, welcome back. It's Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. Just a quarter past the top of the hour, noon Eastern, here in New York. Coming to you live every day, Monday to Friday, from noon to 1 from the Question Tequila Studios. And today it's Women Wednesday, where we bring in unbelievably talented, intelligent women to talk about the issues of the day. And just a few weeks back, you might remember, we had on Carla Marino from the New York Bully Crew, and we talked about their mission of rescuing and finding homes for pit bulls and other animals. And to show that animal rights matter to us, today we bring on one of the biggest advocates there is for animal rights right here in New York. E-commerce attorney Nancy Sliwa joins us today. And Nancy also ran for New York State Attorney General on an all-animal rights campaign, basically.
That's correct.
Nancy, tell us what drives you to advocate for animals when it seems like there's a big group out there, but some people who aren't into it just seem to not care.
Well, I think that the population in general is very supportive of animal issues, but it's usually just the ball is dropped when it comes to the political realm, and there's way too many shortfalls in terms of the kill shelters and really aggressively approaching animal abuse. So to be able to be out there and be an advocate for them because they can't speak, they don't have anyone else. And it really does set the tone, because if you have people who are treating animals cruel in society, you are lending itself to having more people who are going to abuse individuals. I mean, there's such a correlation. So if you can't protect the weakest elements of society, I think you're really starting to fail.
And Frankie, you were talking about the New York State Legislature is trying to put some
Well, they have,
bans.
right.
Yeah.
So as of yesterday, the New York State Legislature has passed legislation banning the practice of declawing cats, and it goes to the governor for a signature. And if he signs this, John, New York's going to become the first state in the country where this happens. Now, nobody really questions that declawing cats is not a good thing. It's almost like cutting your fingertips off if you're a human. But there are two people that have concerns, two groups of people. Some people say that some folks won't end up adopting kittens or cats because they won't take a cat that has their claws, and it's going to lead to more cats potentially getting euthanized. I'd be curious what your take is on it.
Actually, I don't think that argument, well, first of all, I would say the ban, I'm a little bit concerned about even taking effect because of the fact that Cuomo has to sign it. He has dropped the ball already. I mean, he vetoed, he didn't sign about 3 years ago something related to spaying and neutering of feral cats, which was unanimously passed by the State Assembly. So I don't think that he is really the best person to be advocating for animal rights. So I'm kind of hoping that he does. But in terms of adoptions being down, I don't think that's the case. I mean, most people who adopt animals, if they're going to have an issue with them clawing the furniture, or they're going to be concerned about something like that, there's a lot of behavioral treatments that you can have. I think it's just a quick fix and something that you want to take that option out of the hands of people who just don't want to do any of the other steps that's necessary to make it happen.
Well, some people say that they're opposing this ban because if someone has a condition where they bleed profusely, for instance, maybe hemophilia, and they can't risk getting cut at all by a cat, it just will lead them not to adopt.
Well,
I mean, what do you say to that?
Well, I think that, I mean, if you take the worst case scenarios, I mean, yes, that could make sense, but that is such a small fraction of the people who are coming through. Most of it's just behavioral issues. It's people who come in to say, well, it's scratching the furniture, my couch is torn up, and it's really on request. It's never really a necessity. And the groups that are advocating against it, unfortunately, they're also the ones who are making the money off of doing it. So I'm not sure if they're the best people to listen to.
John, the audience may recognize the beret and the last name,
I was going to say that.
Notice that maybe Nancy is the current Mrs. Sliwa. Now, if we look at some of Curtis's exes, one just got endorsed by Governor Cuomo for district attorney yesterday.
Excellent.
The other one the previous week announced that she's marrying former Governor David Patterson. There's only one other living governor of New York. I guess that's Eliot Spitzer. I hope you'll steer clear of Eliot Spitzer.
You're not going to leave Curtis for Eliot Spitzer.
Let's hope not.
Client number 9, are you?
Absolutely not.
You may know Curtis Sliwa, man well renowned here in New York and around the world for his work with the Guardian Angels. And the Angels go out there and they protect the subways, they protect neighborhoods, they're nonviolent, they try to get into communities, talk to people, be a lookout squad. And Nancy, aside from your great animal advocacy, you're also an advocate and a big part of the Guardian Angels. What's the biggest challenge right now that the Angels are seeing out in their communities?
I would say one of the biggest programs we have now is the Perv Busters, which is more or less a campaign where we're targeting all of the subway perverts because the recidivism rate for that is so increased, and the fact that the people are constantly being permitted to go back on the subway 10, 20, 30 times after they do it, and it's the riders who are in the unique position of being shielded from who is on the subway that's actually the perverts. So they're getting a lot of protection, and people like to know this. They like to know this happened at my station, I didn't hear about it, the police aren't telling us about it, so you can see how engaging it is.
Maybe we should do like a website for Liquid Lunch, like subwaypervs.com, and if someone sees someone else being a perv, they take a picture of them and post it and say, watch out for this guy on the R train, because he's got his backpack on his lap and he's doing some strange stuff.
And that's as quick as it gets resolved. I mean, just to be able to post someone's picture, that's right then they usually get caught. Someone knows them, they get told on. So it really is important. Again, I don't know why there's such an emphasis on protecting guilty people and leaving the innocent people at bay.
My main problem here with putting up a site like that is Frank popping up on it. You saw that one coming, didn't you?
Stevie Wonder could see that one coming. Let me ask you though, Nancy, I opened up the Drudge Report this morning. I see this link to this big story that there are these internet puppy scams that are up all over the country. What is the nature of these internet puppy scams, and what do our viewers need to be on the lookout for?
Okay, so that particular story, that relates to people who are looking for animals online, and they're ordering from websites, so they never go to a physical location, they never meet the people. And to be honest with you, I mean, it's interesting. I think it's less about animal rights and more about consumer protection. I mean, the woman in the story was citing that her daughter, who's 14, had sent a whole bunch of money to this site and she got scammed. I mean, I think there has to be some point where personal responsibility comes into play. If you're going to let your 14-year-old daughter order something over the internet, sight unseen, maybe you need to
teach them something. Is it good to actually let someone buy a dog that they haven't met and see if there's not some connection between the two or something?
The number one abusers of animals are these puppy mills. So they can produce a decent-looking puppy, but the conditions that they keep the breeding dogs in are so horrific. So you're right, without seeing it, it's completely ridiculous to expect that you're going to get anything healthy. You wouldn't know where it's coming from. Like it's completely absurd. And to think that people are willing to do that, there is such a tendency to get animals who are sickly, and then you have no recourse because the definition of commercial breeders is so incredibly large. You have to sell so many that there's almost no restriction on them whatsoever.
So if you're watching Liquid Lunch, go out there and support some animal advocacy causes. Near and dear to our heart, of course, is the New York Bully Crew, and you can go there and you can make them a $1 donation. You could donate them some pet goods, and maybe see something there that you want to adopt and make a home for. And Nancy, how is it on our final closing moments on this segment, and we're going to come back and mix it up with Jen Kearns right after this, talk some politics, but how is it making a home with Curtis Sliwa?
Well, he's pretty busy, so I think that kind of helps. You know, I mean, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
There's a reason Nancy's spending so much of her time with feral cats out in the street.
But he's great. Anything that I do with the animals, he's 100% behind me. And I've brought in cats nonstop. And
now, John Gotti tried to kill Curtis, and there was an event of late where,
correct.
For those of you who don't know, Curtis Sliwa was shot how many times?
5 times.
5 times, almost died by John Gotti's henchman, allegedly, who went to jail, allegedly. And even animals brought John Gotti and Curtis to say hello and greet each other and shake hands. That means something.
I think it's a promising sign for the entire country.
It is. And to your point, if you can take care of the animals, then maybe the people will start to be a little nicer to each other, even if they try to kill you.